just reiterating, I think what you said just a few minutes ago, and I'm gonna say muddying the waters, because that's what we try to prevent, is the water being muddied. You just said a few minutes ago that you guys were equipped to assist us with the right wording, language, and presentation of the resolution to the public.
Yes, sir.
To keep everything clear. To me, this bottom, well, all these sets of numbers, if you follow along both sides of the numbers,
Page 6.
on page 8, yes, that's pretty clear. This board, in my opinion, would adopt whatever, and I think I'm looking at the bottom line. I'm looking at the bottom of the 20-year, but if you omit the rest of that's a confusing piece of it. But you have to. If we had a publication in the paper that had the term of 20, the current all-in cost at 3.10, annual payments and estimated payment over the first 6 years, that makes things crystal clear in that. For me,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
saying you take all those other numbers off the sheet. You have the gray headings, and I'm saying omit current estimated bond yield. I'm saying you put the all-in cost percentage rate,
Well, I think
and the cost as it maps out, and you can't get any clearer than that.
But there's additional requirements to be advertised.
True.
I'm being neutral here, but there is additional requirements. You have to put the principal to be paid each year,
Right.
by year. That has to be named in the actual advertisement in the paper. So it'll be 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022.
Yes.
The principal paid, that's just required.
Oh, yes, yes. No, I'm just saying, for informational purposes, you one line this thing. We make the decision on what we want to go with, what we think the people are going to want to go with. You get feedback from your people if you can. That's the worst part of sitting up here. You think people really will come and ask questions and get involved and know what they're voting on, but a lot of times they don't. And no, we don't count on that. I don't care how it's presented. I don't count on that. I want people to call and ask me. If I can't answer their question, I'm going to get the right answers before I answer their question. But all we can do is make it as clear as we can make it. And it's a choice.
I think it needs to be both here. You said the all-in cost. I think you need the bond yield too, the current estimate, that percentage versus the all-in, and you can compare the both.
I'm looking at just plain old me. I understand all in it.
Yeah, but
I know I understand all in it.
Yeah,
Don't
because
show
you-
me something else. Don't confuse me with another set of numbers.
Here's Jim's all in.
Don't give me too many choices. Just give me the all in. What's it gonna cost me? Give me the all in. Don't, because that's
At
just
the end
me.
of the day,
It's-
that's it.
There's one thing I would also caution you on. If you're doing this and you establish all these maximums, you're going to want that maximum interest rate to read something like 5%. Because of the way bonds are marketed, but the second one is you don't want to say 310 and if bonds go to 311, we're not issuing bonds,
Yeah.
right? Because your sales tax may also, something open sales tax producing 1.2 million. Well, then just because interest rates are a little bit higher than where they are today, doesn't mean you don't want to go forward with these projects. So the one word of caution is when you're establishing those maximums, you want to be careful, and particularly on the interest rate, mainly because of how bonds are sold. The 5% and somebody paid you more than face value is what's going to happen on some of these bonds if you chose this route. And that concept hard to follow, but I'm just telling you, you don't want that resolution to read, $7.5 million and at most 310. You want it to be a good bit higher, and there's several reasons for that. But that's the kind of feedback we give you
You're right.
as you have a draft of that
So
resolution.
if we go in and say it's 7.5 million, 8.2 million at 5%, then will we have the annual payments listed at what it will be at 5%?
No, sir. All you list is the principal. You list just your principal payment, and before you issue bonds, if somebody like myself,
Principal, not interest, principal.
You say advertise
Principal.
but before you issue those bonds, we come back to this body and we say, we sold your bonds this morning, or we found buyers for your bond. It's what we call pricing the bond. And the buyers we found, your interest rate today, the all-in rate is 3%, or 3.5%. We come back to this board, you don't issue those bonds unless you agree to the rate on that day. It's not just because you put it in this resolution, you're stuck with that. The bonds still aren't issued just because the election passed.
In other words, we're only putting in the resolution the max interest rate that we'll go to.
That's exactly right. And you may have if you did 20 years, each of those years can be sold separately as a bond issue on a serial bond. You may sell one at 1% and one at 5%, the average is 3%. There's a number of those things that go into this. So that's why I just give you some caution. What we want is, well, what's the rate on all my bonds on an all-in basis? And that's something we present to you at the time you're actually selling those bonds. But you've got to build this structure, and then what we bring back to you has to fit underneath that structure, and then you've got to approve it at that point also. We just got to, you have to establish the parameters so that the voter knows what is my absolute worst case. If they issued all the debt and they did it at the very highest interest rate, that would be legal for us to issue those bonds.
So just to reiterate, the question here is making sure that the advertised payment
Yes, sir.
is principal only.
That's exactly right. If it was $8
Principal
million, then you would have all the payments and they would total up to $8 million.
This higher interest rate for advertising doesn't come into play, just the principal only.
It's because you don't know the interest rate
Exactly.
today. You can't possibly know what the interest rate's gonna be at the time you sell
On the
it.
advertisement.
But we have to approve the max.
That's right, but what you're telling the voter is, this is the highest it would ever be. It could be less than that. Your rates could go down from where they are today. I don't know that's particularly likely, but you could advertise exactly what you're doing, but you don't know exactly what it looks like on the day you call for the election. So you can only advertise those known things, and the known is, what's the principal I would pay each year? And the rate, the interest rate may go up or down.